Hi,
Get you
everyone.
going, doesn't it?
Sure does.
So spiffy music there.
Uh-huh.
Well, greetings, everyone. Greetings. I'm Teresa D'Antone, your show host for this evening's program, and we welcome you to Andromeda 7, your celestial gateway to community support, friendship, help, knowledge, and love. And thank you for joining in with us this evening. And we hope to have a exciting and eye-opening discussion tonight that may very well be of significant value to some of you folks. But stay tuned, because throughout the program, we'll be showing you the Worldwide Community Portal website that features everyone's services, products, personal research, stories, contact information, so you can book appointments with people. It's fun, it's useful, and it's filled with excellent, helpful resources for each and every one of you. So and I want to welcome tonight's panelists and our special guest, Luke Walker. He prefers to go by Walker. Welcome, Luke. Thank you for being with us tonight.
It's an honor. Thank you so much for having me.
And we're joined by Karen Kasparov. She is our hard rock miner, owner, and creator of the Community Portal website that you'll be seeing throughout the program. We have Julianne Payne, our oracle, our word alchemist, our energy healer, and our poet. And
Hello,
Lori
everyone.
Lori Cross up in the upper corner there. She's of Pure Love Ascension channel. She's our co-host tonight and our technical operator, one of our visual graphic artists and creators for the Andromeda program. Thank you, Lori, for everything you do to keep things running smoothly. Yeah,
It's my pleasure.
So before we get into introducing Luke in greater detail and having a discussion with Luke, Lori, would you like to give a call out to the chat room
I
folks?
sure would. I'd like to welcome everybody. We've got Mandy Moo is in the house. Thank you, Mandy, for being here.
Mandy?
Nick Grohl, 333.
Nick, oh,
Our most favorite Doug Stack, never misses a show.
Doug.
Hey, Doug.
Sweet Audrey. Audrey's in the house as well.
Yeah.
Crystal Shaman. Our own What's Next Lucky Stone. Michelle Canham Free. Hello, McFree.
McFree. Athanasia.
Yes, thank you.
That's Athanasia. Hi, Athanasia.
Thank you for that. And
Welcome.
then we've got Deb.
See ya.
Let's see, who else do we have? Just want to make sure I get
Delaney?
everyone.
Delaney's sister.
Delaney.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Oh.
That looks like it's it.
Well, we'll say hi to
Wonderful.
more folks once they trickle in a little bit
You
later.
betcha.
Okay, well, Luke Walker, you like to be called Walker. You could tell us a story about that in a minute. Luke Walker is our he's a metaphysical blueprinting architect, but he's actually a lot more than that. He's a certified personal trainer, and he's put together a very unique program for quantum energy reprogramming. It's called the Spectra program. And he's got 2 levels of that he can tell you about. It's a combination of Spectra Energy Rainbow Field plus guided visualization for DNA repair and restructuring. Sorry, it's a mouthful. But it's basically, from what I can understand, because I've been listening in on it a few times now, is that he's actually giving us the ability to go back and restore, if you will, reprogram and restore our own energy, our own physical vitality, and our own spiritual immunity, that the human body's natural healing abilities are getting reactivated through the way he goes about this program. That's all I'll say, because it's a whole lot more to it than that. And we'll turn it over to Luke, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you got into this and what your story is before you start explaining it all.
Sure. So when I got out of the military in 2005, right before that, I was doing personal training certification. I was actually training some of the guys in the Marines on base. And when I got out, I built my first fitness company, which was called Fitstorm Fitness. And it was the calm before the Fitstorm was what my whole thing was, what it was about. And I knew just enough information about personal training to get my ass handed to me really hard, because nothing in personal training certifications or anything teach you anything about PR management, about client retention, about any of this stuff. So I'm going with the one size fits all type thing. So as I'm doing that, I'm going through, I noticed how some clients they see results no matter what I do. Some clients, no matter what I do to or try to put them through, they see no results. And so I started looking into body types, somatotyping off of the essentially like different body types and how their oxidation rates work. So I followed a man by the name of Sheldon. Dr. Sheldon in the 1930s was already doing somatotyping. So I'm bringing this stuff back to the surface. I'm saying, hey, look, check this out. If we could find out if you're an ectomorph, an endomorph, a mesomorph, we could figure this stuff out. And when I had this stuff going in 2007, business was like, I would get these clients that are very 3D, and they're just like, well, you just kick my ass and just give me results. And I was like, well, the somatotyping is what I want to go through. Like and they're like, I don't care about any of that. Like, I just want to just put me through a workout. So you fast forward to now, there's a guy that actually does all of this somatotyping and body typing stuff. And he's really big, and I won't name his name, but by that time I was sitting there going, oh boy, man, this guy's got it going, everything that I was trying to go at that time. And I'm like, and no one wanted to hear about it then, but now everyone's doing it, so to speak. It's like, this is a new big thing. And I was like, oh, I was doing that already. But by that time I had moved beyond that 3D component as well, even just looking at the physiology of things. And I moved into this component of essentially like what makes up so much of who people are, who they think they are, this character, this avatar. I started really getting into avataric typing of people. And that came out of essentially what their background was. And a lot of it had to deal with. I said, at what point does this break occur in how the self-image is developed? And it has to do with trauma. And so as I was born, and as I say in my courses and things like that, is the body, the vessel that is birthed, that's given a name. So I was born in this vessel as Luke. When the water breaks, that's the christening, and the vessel is birthed. That's why we have birth certificates, right? We have a bill of sale, so to speak, that keeps track of us, where we go and where we're birthed, because it's like we're mercantile vessels. So that's why I go by Walker, is because that level, as I've gone and continued to use this energy, I was called the Quantum Walker because Luke Skywalker was already taken. And I like to think the sky's the limit, and quantum is limitless. So there you go. I don't have to worry about any kind of limitations with quantum. So as I was doing personal training and I was really getting into this, the psychological or pathological constructs of people and who and what they think they are, and what these scripts are running in the background that dictate essentially their belief systems and create their core personalities. Because when I get what I do with Spectra, so Spectra is what I call the program. But Spectra is actually an energy. It's actually quantum energy that is in, it's almost like an atom. So when I created this thing, I put this thing together, and it has all the symbols. And so when I was going through, I decided I needed Reiki at some point while I was doing personal training. I said, oh, I could do energy work and I could melt fat off of people while I'm doing all this stuff. And I want to do all this stuff with Reiki. And Reiki, it's like, oh, you got to use a Choku-rei and all this stuff. And it's like, got to be used this way. And I said to the Reiki master that was teaching me, and I said, well, what happens if I take a Choku-rei and I make it purple? And she's like, why would you do that? I was like, well, why can't I? And she's like, I don't know what you could do. So I started experimenting with it. And I realized very quickly that you can change vibrational frequencies of people very fast and very quickly. And one of my clients, I had to do a lot of follow-up and stuff with them because I did all this different stuff while they were training. So I was using all these Reiki symbols, and I had gotten the full, when I went for my, to go back, when I went for my Reiki master, I got Reiki 1, did all that. And then she said, okay, you're going to get Reiki 2 and 3 all at once. And so I said, okay. And when she did it, she said, I've never seen this before. I said, what? She's like, you have extra symbols. You have extra symbols. And I said, yeah, I'm going to make Reiki 4, like an arrogant bastard, like, I'm going to make Reiki 4. And she's like, there is no Reiki 4. And I was like, yeah, but I'm going to make it. That's why I wanted to get this, is because I'm going to make it. And she's like, no, you can't do that. And I said, no, I'm going to. And she said, well, you're not making Reiki 4. And I said, why not? And she said, because your guidance and your counsel is saying it's something far beyond what Reiki is. Oh. It's something far beyond. You can't even call it Reiki 4. So I started building this thing together, and I took those extra symbols, and these extra symbols are very important because they take all of the original constructs of these symbols, which are elements. You have Reiki symbols that are actually, I broke them down into elements and earth, water, fire. And then I was like, oh, wait, where's the ether? Where's the bliss charged love? Where's love charged bliss? And I added all these other things in there that were already there, combined them together in an atom. And so what I have coming out pretty soon is going to be my Spectra Mastery course for individuals that want to do what I do. They want to use this energy, because so much about this is empowering others to empower themselves. So I want to have other Spectra masters going around, understanding what it is to be in this energy and to offer this to individuals. They're not healing anyone. This comes from tapping into the natural multidimensionality of the being in front of me. I'm not healing the person. I'm not healing their personality, because before me is not a personality. Souls are not personalities. They're not. Personalities are scripts. They're scripts running that create a personal reality. So what I do when I do Spectra is I open up a space, and the simple space is where they come from outside of a body. You have source. You have source energy. You have something that is connected to all multi-dimensions. Well, when they meet trauma, first of all, the trauma of being wiped, coming through the veil, is enough, right? Because we forget everything that we need to know. We have to kind of build that back, right? I won't even go into the manipulation of how that's been controlled. I'm doing a whole series called The Matrix Unplugged on how that has been manipulated when it was something good, meaning if the veil was something that was used so that we didn't remember who we are, so that we could experience having this separation to source, so we wouldn't be, know the whole game, so to speak. But that's been manipulated as well. So, and on a higher, as soon as you go 5th, 7th, 8th dimension, it's like, oh, everything's fine, right? It's all good from up here in the 12th dimension. But when we go down in 3rd and 4th, it's like, yeah, this is kind of sketch because a lot of us, when we're believing a core belief from trauma, what essentially we have our deep connection to source before we come into a vessel. Being birthed already is trauma. However, in the body, trauma is stored in the body, not in the mind, not in the brain. It doesn't store there. The brain can start to remember it, or it can compartmentalize it and get rid of it. But the body will always remember. If there's been some sort of abuse and I walk around someone and I get a bad feeling in my body, it's going to be in my body first, and I might not know. That's
cellular memory then, what you're talking about?
Cellular memory. Yeah, and that's what I call trauma, is cellular magnetics. Okay. So cellular magnetics are stored in the body, And when there is that compartmentalization, because we have being in this beautiful bliss, charged love, charged bliss, then coming into a body. Now we're surrounded by other beings that don't think they're connected to source. They have no idea. They're giving us information, information, light, or misinformation, shadow, darkness, distortions. They're giving this as their beliefs. So a parent, an authority figure, something is teaching us based off of what they know, based off of where they've come from. They don't even know if it's true. They just have been repeating that since their childhood, since someone else told them that. And if they don't come into something that gets them uncomfortable to challenge that, they will always have an inclusive belief system.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to ask something. I'm going to ask something here. Well, just go back because we're talking about cellular memory, Luke, and just about you said trauma is stored at that level, but I feel that actually trauma is much more complex than that. And before it's even stored at the physical level, trauma is stored at the etheric level and within our database, within our minds and our thinking. Because if anybody has gone through a trauma or any kind of event in the past, it's not within the cell. It's actually whatever they think about the moment in the past. It brings up the emotional and then the physical and everything. So what they're doing is they're always delving into their etheric field or their data bank as electromagnetic fields, and they're bringing up those traumas based on not cellular memory and how I feel, but within the etheric and within that that part of it. So that's why they can go into the past and bring it up based on the emotions and the thinking. So it's all you think first, then you know, you believe and you feel, and then you get to the physical level of the response at the physical level. So that's kind of what I was wondering.
Yeah, well, the trauma creates etheric holes. It creates holes in our biofields, and it creates unconscious, subconscious holes. So whatever fear or trauma is there is projected down from the lower three chakras. Is that because it's stored below the heart? So when within our etheric field, the inner child, when there is trauma, so that first form of trauma, so people go, oh, I wasn't abused, there wasn't trauma. Okay, trauma could be as simple as, you know, you wanted a cookie from a cookie jar and your parents said no. And that really disrupted your free will. And then later on, you decided to become a baker and eat all the cookies you wanted, and you make all these amazing, delicious cookies. Like that's where our passion comes from, is where the trauma is in place. So what we have when there is some sort of trauma, meaning something that's denying one's free will, what takes place is the being now is having an experience of what? Conditioned love. We talk about the human condition. It should be the human experience, not the human conditioning. Conditions are something that's placed upon someone else's space to create their own dictation of how that person is to run. Children don't know any better, right? When we're children, we just hear whatever the parents have to say, authority figures, whatever, all of those types of things, and we just go along with it because we don't know we can opt out. So that's being scripted and programmed unconsciously or subconsciously without us even knowing. Then we go around and say, hey, the world works this way. Well, why? I don't know. I was told that. And if someone says, well, how do you know that's true? Well, of course it's true. I was told that the more we try to kind of, you know, double down on that, because when we get defensive, that's the ego. The ego is like the ego that is created. It is a good thing, right? It's good for spatial awareness and stuff like that, so we don't fall off cliffs or bump into walls. But what it does is it's like a firewall. It's like a security system. And the first thing that it looks for is anytime we bring up insecurities, because it is going to make sure we're secure. That doesn't allow insecurities to take place. So anytime that trauma comes up, says, oh, let's not deal with it, right? Let's just dump it down here. Well, when it's dumped down here, the being has experienced something of conditioned love. That conditioned love says, you're not allowed. It compartmentalizes it, stores it deep down, because the conscious, as a child, the child just says, no, life's okay. I got to do whatever I got to do just to survive and make it through and eat, have food, shelter, get accepted by the family, get accepted by the authority figure. So we don't question that until later on in life. At least I didn't. And, when I became adult, I was like, my childhood really wasn't that great. Actually, that was kind of shitty. Like I came back and was like, oh, now I can take a look at that and go, this doesn't, I just thought it was fine. But now I'm like, wait a second, let me look into this. Because that compartmentalized part of me that said, don't talk about it, don't express it, let's not think about it, because the child doesn't want to experience conditional love. So that part of the psyche, that conditioned part, gets compartmentalized, stored down in the lower chakras. And it goes down into the root chakra. And that root chakra is essentially where our identity is stored. That's where we plant our seeds. That's how we grow. That's how we figure out how this tree of life is blooming. So when that is down there, here is the heart. It's down in the lower three, the first, second, and third dimension down here in these chakras. Now we have up here, we're just up here, always creating, always up in the crown, always like love, it's beautiful, everything. We don't want to go down there. We don't want to visit that. And that's why we have that ego. The ego system is that security system. It doesn't want to, it'll immediately call out any kind of insecurity. So what do? We bottle it up. And what we do is we bottle up all this energy around our heart. So when that energy is stored, it gets charged. So what you have is you have a trauma stored in the lower chakras that is projecting 24/7, 365, every single day like a ghost loop. It replays that energy. And then we're moving along going, I'm not suffering from the trauma. I'm fine. I don't want to think about it. I'm creating a different experience. And as soon as we go, right, it's like that, pray and ask for things and the universe will give it to you. And then it's like, okay, I intend for this to happen. And then the opposite, I mean, within 2 hours, the opposite of what I wanted immediately shows up, because that's showing where there's resistance. So people say, oh, it's just about the law of attraction. You just think happy thoughts and like, I'm always going to have it. No, I say, if you make an intention, pay attention to what shows up next.
Yep.
The first thing that happens is someone is going to show up that's going to prove my belief system. And they could be a friend, they could be anybody. Anybody could show up and they become an agent of the matrix in order to what? Secure the matrix, secure the ego, secure my puppetry, that the world works this way. So if I see someone and they say something to me, like for instance, if someone says, your whole energy work and stuff, you're bullshit. I think you're garbage. And I get upset and I get defensive. That's my own insecurities coming to light that are saying, okay, where in me do I think I'm bullshit? Because otherwise I wouldn't be attracting this person in my life. They're just there to show me how to play the game and what areas I need to move in or maneuver to go, okay, this person needs love, meaning I need love, meaning this part of me needs love. So with Spectra, bringing it back around, with Spectra, what I do for individuals that are emotionally traumatized, that have physically traumatized, that have, as you know, I study a lot with under a lot of Louise Hay's books, right, where it's like, oh, this trauma shows up in the different organs and stuff. So I said, well, where are you having these symptoms? Because we're not going to go to the doctor and figure out, oh, here's medicine for that or that. We're going to go to the root and seeing where anger is stored, seeing where this pain and this trauma is stored. Well, ultimately, it comes down to some experience, some script that's been running for a very long time subconsciously. And they're creating up here with their third eye, down here in their chakras, they're creating a hole in their etheric, right? And down in their root chakra, they're projecting what? Fear. 24/7, 365. Because that piece of them is like their heart that got broken. It's that little piece they don't want to look at, and it goes down into the root chakra. Now it's creating a hole in their biofield. So their biofield and how they create, how they experience environment, what's attracted, what is possible or impossible is all based off of our belief systems and what our conscious and superconscious can allow in. There's that hole that, like cellular magnetics, is sucking or attracting people that are going to have those same types of energies, predatory, abusive, or constricting. All of those types of things are now being attracted in that person's space. So with Spectra, what Spectra is it's multiple spectrums of healing invisible light. So if we look at the spectrum, Spectra is all of the spectrums, everything from all time, space, dimensions, and reality, because what we are is a ball of light. And when that ball of light is shining brightly through this energy crystal that we have in our body, it reflects a holographic image, right? If you put a light up to a crystal you see on the wall, you see what creates a hologram, right? You have all the colors. Each one of you, each one of us has a unique prismatic spectrum of colors. That's what makes us unique, like a snowflake. So with what Spectra is when I approach that individual, I set up the fail safes of Spectra, which means I'm not going to use any energy against them. I'm not going to try to heal them. First and foremost, I'm not healing them. I don't heal anybody. I'm opening up a space where it becomes self-healing, is where they say, I surrender to unconditional love. That means surrendering every part of them. Every part they don't want to see, what they call the shadow self. Well, the shadow self essentially is created from that seed of inception where the trauma occurred. And I say the seed of inception and not conception because they don't even know it's there. So what that allows them to do is receive or retrieve all of their energy, all of the pieces of themselves from all time, space, dimensions, and reality. That means every single lifetime. That means right? Because we can do, past life regressions until we're blue in the face. Because we've been, and being empaths, we can tap into other people's energies that we were kind of an aspect of and think that we deal with that too. Or we can see that the inner child is a summary of conditioned love of all time, space, dimensions, and reality of any and all lives we have lived, and see that we have this summary as this seed for a reason, because we've arrived at this moment, which is the ascension timeline. We can't move into the ascension. If I take all except 1% of my heart up into 5D, it's not going to work, because that's still a part of myself that I've left behind. It's still that experience that hasn't been healed. It's still that inner child. And that's, I tell people, how people say they have to deal with their demons. And I say, well, yes, absolutely. But what if that fire-breathing dragon is just a child that's screaming for attention? And I've told my clients before, a child that needs attention will do anything. And that can be, as simple as, hey, I'm hungry, to climbing up on the baker's rack and throwing all of your nice fine china on the ground to get your attention. Is it the third dish? Is it the seventh dish? What will get your attention? Is it all of them? It doesn't matter. So that kind of space of going, what is coming in my space says more about me and how I'm creating this reality, because that's how the matrix was designed to work. The crystalline grid matrix, not the inverted matrix that just is basically this up and down, a little bit of happiness, so we're gonna have a lot of disappointment, right? What happens within that aspect is bringing that inner child up here, you coming down here. This is 0 point. This is 5D consciousness. This is what we call crystalline consciousness, Christ consciousness. This comes from right from the heart. 0 point just is. And so when 0 point just is, when it observes in that fashion, and that person is now whole in their heart, when they see something that has a residual stickiness, right? Because I say, okay, it's like the child had a label on them. They've been labeled something, and then we rip that label off finally, but it's been on there for a long time. So we have this sticky residue.
Yep.
That residue shows up, but now the person isn't approaching it as what the hell's happening. They have awareness, and they also have awareness that it's the inner child that's, hey, check this out. Look at this. Because from this timeline to this timeline, in this, if you look at it like you would, on a movie script, it's okay, if you were looking at it like you were in a movie, creating, and you see okay, here's how the movie goes, and here's the clip. From here to here was the trauma. From here to here was with the pain. Now it's playing 24/7, doesn't matter if it's 30 seconds, an hour, and it keeps recreating the same movie. Not because the child's mad or evil or trying to hurt us. It's because it's all they know. And It's the only level of capacity that they have at that age. They don't have any other capacity. It's like at 3 years old, did you know what was going on in the world? No. You're just like, where's the food? Am I doing anything to get up, piss somebody off? How much can I get away with? What are my boundaries? What are the conditions? That type of thing. So when it's whole and complete up here, we're coming from 0 point. Now, when that residual energy comes up, I tell people that time is not, it's not linear, it's circular. So now you get to come back around the track, except now you're the mother and father to that child that it either never had or it always needed at that time. So now when the energy comes at it, it says, oh, here it is again. This person's going to abandon me or hurt me or, mistreat me in some way or abuse me. I'm not going to let that happen because we're coming from 0 point. So now that they can see that, they're able to what? Give the child a new learned experience. Because no one came at that moment. Remember, they didn't see all these years have gone by. They've relived this moment over and 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 over again. We only know they exist when something isn't working in our space. When there's a disruption and, hey, why is this always happening? Why can't I have this? Why isn't this taking place? Oh, it's all that child knows. It's the only reality it's ever had. So now, because it's a child and it has that small capacity, when it's up here, you have it here. So when something is being expressed that we don't like, you say, thank you. Thank you, because now it gets a voice. It can express. It can tell you, that scares me. That's frightening. Don't worry. I'm not going to let that happen. Someone says, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, excuse me. You're not going to talk to me that way. Or do something. Oh, that was stupid. Oh, I'm sorry. Because if we beat ourselves up, it's just that child. It's just that child's experience of, being in trouble for something and something like that. So it changes everyone's perception and perspective of being whole once again with this spectra. Like I said, the time here where they're in their 5D life, the time here where they're current, the supposed now, it is either as wide or as thin as that timeline revisited. And each time you stand up for that inner child, you stand up for your true authentic self, you stand up for your true soul signature, who you were before the trauma, before the inception of trauma. Because what happens with spectra is you go back into that, oh, wait a second, if this timeline doesn't exist, then all of those horrible moments healed lies the very best of us.
Yeah.
Wow.
Phew. So how do you go about, how do you help folks to unlock this? You have compartmentalized step-by-step modules, course modules that they take?
So they do Spectra I. Spectra I is the quantum retrieval. They retrieve that, they get back, and they get in touch with that inner child. They get to touch it. It might be a past life. We go as far as it is, or as soon as it is, to lock in that moment as a summary, because all it is repeating karma, right? We're just repeating this karma. Mm-hmm. And it's only karma until it becomes a lesson. Once it becomes a lesson, it's not karma anymore, because we have self-awareness, and we're not going to do that anymore. We're not going to make, and it could be something as simple as we think we're doing the right thing, but we're actually trying to, I call it drive-by healing. It's like, oh, look at that person. Like, yeah. It's like, oh, I just put karma on myself because they didn't ask for that. They didn't consent to that. Yeah. So one of the big things that they do is they finally have that. And then I tell them over about the space of about 7 to 9 days is the main core time, is when immediately, once they've had that flips, the switch flip. And the way I can tell when someone has the switch flip is when I'm doing spectra, I'll have, they can get like really, like the energy can get about this thick. It feels like I have those big foam hands on. And it's like my hands will lock. And then if my thumb starts bouncing really fast, that's how I can tell how receptive they are to the energy, how much their oversoul and soul has been able to say, yes, I consent to that at this time. Like I tell them, I can't hypnotize them. I can't do anything or program them or do anything to their DNA that their soul doesn't consent to. That's one of the biggest things, because a lot of Reiki individuals are using Reiki and they aren't understanding that there is a soul contract going on when we do any kind of energy exchange. And a lot of, when I was doing Reiki, I would get, I'd put up Reiki, I'd do all this stuff, and I'd be drained, I'd be tired. Well, with Spectra, I created a fail-safe with the Merkabas. So creating this fail-safe, so they only receive what is for them. Nothing is backlash to me, and all my energy is received back in. It's a Tesla vortex where the energy goes in. Once it's done, the energy comes back out. What is there that's there stays with them. What isn't goes away, and what is mine. But it doesn't go away as far as like just dissipates. All of the light codes, all of the vibratory resonance of the energy, because I give them a recording to listen to. When they listen to it, they can glean new information as they're growing, as they're ascending, and someone was saying, well, what if I listened to when I was drunk? And I was like, it doesn't matter. You come back when you're sober, you're going to get different information. It's all there. So much of our consciousness, there's so much going on beyond our consciousness and the super consciousness or the subconsciousness, that all these things are happening. All of that energy is theirs. It is theirs to have. It's theirs to take from. And so with that, as they move through, once they have fully integrated, now they're starting to figure out, okay, who am I without my pain? that becomes this existential crisis, essentially, of going, okay, I know I'm a being. I know I'm multidimensional. I know I can go like way out here, but what am I bringing here? What am I bringing in a body, in an avatar? And so that's where Supernova takes place. That's where I bring Supernova in.
So you're building, you're letting them clear that energy out, that stuck energy, so to speak. You're letting them clear that out to get back to get their immunity system kicked off. And then you take it to the next level. Yes. So what's involved with, physical fitness aspect of this as well, right?
Our bodies are a hologram. So physical fitness comes down to spiritual wellness. And that comes down within all of our chakras. That comes down within any kind of residual trauma, anything that's we're clearing out in that space. So much about the physical experience or our physical projection has to do with distortions. Because if you were to leave your body right now, I guarantee you would have the perfect body. You'd have because you don't have distortions of the cells and pollution and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You look exactly, and I'll share a secret with you. I see most people in their 5D bodies. So when people come to me and they're like, oh, I look this way, and I was like, I don't see that at all. So I don't know what you're trying to tell me. I don't know what you're trying to say to me, because I see them as the god, goddess avatars that they are always. Mm-hmm. So when you leave your body and you're in your light body looks exactly how you imagine and dream in your mind. That's exactly how you are. Mm-hmm. The self-image that is created off of patterning from our childhood. So that patterning is that person looks this way. So what if that's why your alien body doesn't show up, right? If with your alien species doesn't just suddenly, you don't just shapeshift, because you've had this patterning for so long, this conditioning of the collective. You've had this conditioning of, okay, so that's a mom, that's a hand, this is my life. And that's how babies learn, is they pattern what they're seeing. That's how we learn anything, is we pattern how to integrate or navigate our environment. So if suddenly someone came to you and said, no, you don't look like a human, you're a shapeshifter and you're just projecting as a human in order to fit in, and they suddenly gave you some information and suddenly something unlocked, your body would transform. Absolutely would.
So we have a pattern then.
Because a DNA pattern. Yes.
In my family, it was always you're hunched back, stand up straight, suck in your gut. You're too big, you're too fat. It's constant. And then children hear that from their parents. And when you go to school, fatty, nanny, you get all this stuff from the kids. So by the time you're an adult or a young adult, you've already established. Now, that could also be a past life, like you're saying, experience as well. But you start building a self-image of yourself. And then as you progress throughout life, you get into all these habits that just reinforce that image.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're doing is getting us to go in and change the pattern, view ourselves.
You're not who you think
the negative
you are.
Self-talk. You're because that's not who you really are.
Yeah, if they say that you become you become a combination of your experience and your environment. Okay, all right. Let's say that.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's say you didn't have the same. Let's say your parents didn't give you any of that information. They didn't say any of that stuff. You had nothing but love. They told you, they taught you healthy eating habits. They didn't say anything about, oh, you need to stand up straight. Now, who are you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you're not who you think you are anymore. If you don't have that experience, then how are you, hang on a second. If you don't have that experience, then you're somebody else.
Yeah.
So if you think about that as everything you want, somebody else already has. In an alternate reality somewhere, and you can look and see that person that has this, they have the body, and they have, oh yeah, well, they're just you in a different frequency vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So what would it be like to be in that vibration? What would it be like? What does someone that just is like that feel like? That's where that vibration starts to take place of, oh, wait a second. I'm not even me or my name or my body or any of that. In fact, it came down for me. It came down, I'm nothing. I'm nothing. If I can't define or describe myself by, my blood type or my parents or my education or whatever, it's like all of those egoic things to define who I am suddenly disappear. And I'm like, wow, I'm nothing. And that's when the real crack happened, because I said, if I'm nothing, then I have the potential to be anything and everything. Nothingness is the same thing as everything.
All at once.
All at once.
Mm-hmm.
So it had to kind of come down to that breakdown for me to get to that point to go, well, who do I want to be?
Mm-hmm.
What do I want to look like? What is in my mind's eye? What is in my dream desire to look like and how am I best representing this body, right? This temple, so to speak. And so, like I tell, with this holographic projection that's coming out of me, and then people say, well, people see me how I see me. And I was like, yeah, they do, because you're projecting that. You need that feedback in order to stay locked in the avatar. That's how the matrix works. But if suddenly you're this limitless being, limitless, you could be anything and everything you want to be. Then you can start to what? That's why we pattern, celebrities or things like that. But then we go, oh, they're so above us. That's by design. They're supposed to be the stars so above us, so high above us that we can't do that. When we're the supernovas, we're not the stars, we're the supernovas. And that's what this is about, is so many star seeds come in and they're like, star seeds have a trauma tail. Star seeds why? Because star seeds need that catalyst to put passion into their work, to have the opposite experience, to help people, to do all this stuff. And so much about what Spectra I is let's get all those beliefs of who we think we are out of the way so we can start living our life. Otherwise, we can't help. We're not well enough to help anybody.
Yeah.
Let alone the planet. And so much about how the inverted matrix works is, oh, you're a star seed. And that's immediately pinpointed. Think about everybody else. It's all about everyone else. Take care of everyone else. Give your energy to everyone else. And we can talk about that, like that split that occurs with trauma. And it happens every single time. You have two pieces. You have service to self and service to others. Both have insecurities and are traumatized. Both. You have one, puts everybody else on a pedestal, service to others. You have the other one, puts everyone else down beneath them and themselves on a pedestal. When someone has a belief system that everything else is about everyone else, we're here to be of service, which is how we've been hijacked. We cannot, in our experience, attract service to other beings. It's impossible. It's impossible because
makes sense.
We're only looking for people that feel that they're higher than us so we can be of service. But we never actually get to be of service to the people that really need us, because the service to self beings are like, ooh, cool. They see us as these really juicy pieces of meat. And until we start to say, hey, you know what? Others is about me too.
Yeah.
I am important. I got to be important. I mean, I got to be part of the others. I mean, this is kind of ridiculous. And it wasn't until that where it's like, oh, that's selfish. That's selfish. Well, what if when we have that wholeness in ourself, we have centeredness of self instead of self-centeredness? We actually know ourselves, right? Being selfish, like it's a little selfish, is simply seeing, wait a second, do I have healthy boundaries? And a lot of us don't even know, because the belief systems dictate the conditions placed in our own space. I'm not supposed to say that or supposed to do that, or, you know, if I say this, it's going to be a mess, you know?
Well, for our listeners that aren't in the chat room, because we have a lot of folks that listen and they come later and listen as well. You've got a couple of people with some great feedback in here. Deb said she went through your first supernova and feels completely different. Motherella, she's never looked more beautiful, and I think she's beautiful all the time. But here lately, she says, I look and feel the best I ever have since doing this. Spectra and Supernova, then putting the work into building the hard body is off the charts. And that's another program that adds on to all of this. We could cover that another night, because there's so much with this one. That one alone has a story behind it. And then there's several people in here that are Reiki, that practice Reiki. And so you have an aspect of this that will help them with their Reiki practices that they might want to look into. So,
so I took the original. So because Reiki for so long, if you look into it, it was a very long time before we had even any books on Reiki, because the way that the Reiki masters were taught was this was like a hidden kind of esoteric knowledge, and they didn't even write it down. The original Reiki, they kept in their brain, and then they would teach it to someone, and they would teach it enough so that they kept it in their brain, word for word, everything. So what has happened when we're in this, this ascension process is the way Reiki has been set up is very constricting to how the energy can be used. So what I did with Spectra is I reformatted all of the Reiki symbols to be used, like I said, let me take Chokurei and I want to paint a platinum purple something on the sky, or I want to put that on somebody's face and not suffer any, karmic consequences for it. That's why they've been reformatted, so that there is the fail safe within Spectra, that when they use Spectra, they know that they are opening a space of unconditional love to allow this person to heal themselves. And any intention that they have with this is my main thing with Spectra. Spectra is open source. Aside from the fail safe, where it won't work unless you do the proper way to set it up, because it has to be that way, otherwise people could abuse it. Aside from the fail safe, it is open source. That means I can't wait to see what people will do with it. They can put it in their paintings, they can put it in their colors, they can put it in their plants, they can put it in people and animals, they could make a computer program out of it. I mean, the sky is literally just shattered because it is quantum energy. So when I made it, I said, I don't want to be the Apple. I don't want to be the Microsoft. I don't want to close this thing down. I want to open it up. So when someone has it, and don't even get me started on children. If children get this, honestly, when children get this, I won't have to give it to anybody. I won't have to provide this service anymore. Adults have a little more tension and resistance to it. Yeah. But children, they live Spectra. As soon as I attune a child, they'll attune other children just by playing with them, just by playing, because they live in the imagination world. And this is the thing is, when I get these kids off these screens and get them to play with this stuff, they see the colors they're using. They see what it does to the butterflies. They see what it does to the environment. They see what it does to the woods, to the trees, to the animals. So adults with Spectra, because there's so much conditioning, right? We have like Reiki has to be done this way and you have to do it that way and everything. Once I do the mastery course, and in the mastery course, I explain the matrix, I explain the inverted matrix, I explain how it works, I explain the tesseract, I explain the hypercube, I explain Metatronic forces. I put all this stuff together so people know, oh, this is how to properly use this. This is how to prevent spiritual hijacking.
Yeah.
This is how to, what I call spear ritual hijacking, which is like the spear of destiny. If someone's on their path, wham, they stab them right there, turn it, twist, and they immediately get what? A decoy person, the twin flame, show up in their space, and they're like, oh, look, it's this person, blah, blah, blah. It's so, oh, nothing in here has been healed yet, right? They're almost on their path. They haven't healed in here, and suddenly this person arrives. Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Well, for our folks on the panel, we have about 10 minutes left. We have about 10 minutes left, and we'd like to show you how you can reach Luke and how you can make contact with him, book appointments, get more information on the different programs that he offers. And but first, I wanted to see if Jules had anything to say, or Karen, did you have any questions for Luke before we show his website?
I hijacked the show. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No.
I wanted to hear everyone else.
We wanted this. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, it was interesting because Luke touched on a couple things from just a previous show about what the soul is. Remember, we just talked about that, and we kind of covered after you talking, from what I understand, for what I think it is, it's that layer of energy as electromagnetic beings that we are, and our toroidal fields hold our souls, and our souls that cover us are all our memories and experiences from all of our being, from all lives, aspects, fractals of ourselves within this realm, and it's all housed within our shell, our fields. And what I do, and I just wanted your thought on it because you talk about the energy at the heart level, but for me, I connect through my field, through my assemblage point, actually, which is the middle that connects our energetic fields. And it's what that sounds like you're doing, which I like, is that you're freeing our assemblage points, or your clients' assemblage points, to move within their fields and their database to go and heal and move around, no matter what the experience was within their past, present, future, which doesn't exist. It's all there. And so you're freeing their assemblage point. And this is why I said, like Luke, which is interesting, because whenever you have trauma, emotions, it doesn't matter what it is. And it's interesting that you don't get the pain in your heart. The pain is always in your middle, where your assemblage point is, where your solar plexus out through the middle. That's why you get butterflies and anxiety. That's why you throw up. That's why you get sick. That's why when you're upset, it's always from that middle, that assemblage point that connects us out to our own energetic fields and connects to our higher selves, and on and on. I just wanted your thought about that. But that's when you're describing what you're doing, what I thought of, that you're energetically freeing their assemblage points to go to every aspect of what they need to make a whole person, or to understand themselves as a being in this world or this dimension.
That's a great point. And my guidance is saying, yeah, you're 100% correct.
Oh, there you go. No, it's not that, but that's what I pictured when you were describing what you were doing.
Yeah, they're saying that is exactly what is happening.
Okay. Oh, cool. No,
So
that's
you do work with guides. You do have guides you work with.
Yes.
Just as Mozzarella does as well, right? Perfect.
Absolutely. And recently, archangels, which I've never been in touch with any archangels ever in my life. The ones that I did were imposters and decoys. So the ones that I am in touch with now, I've been given clearance to use a lot of their tools, and also those tools will be in the Spectra Mastery course as well. So.
Wonderful. Wow.
Excellent. That's like advanced. What you're doing is very advanced energy work, just to let you know, Walker. Very advanced energy.
And I wanted, the higher we go, the simpler it gets. Really, honestly, when there's no trauma, it gets simpler. So I'm trying to offer this in a way for those that have studied books and books and books and Reiki books and this now go here. I'm trying to make it as simple as an analogy, as a movie, as I can, to get the masses, to get these, light workers that are now light warriors. And I'm really trying to empower these light warriors to have these tools and make it very simple. And it is complex stuff, but like you say, if what I'm doing, is the assemblage point, but I just say the heart, and that it resonates with them, like that's the main thing, is I just want to make sure that people are able to disseminate it properly. And it doesn't matter what they get out of it. If it's not what my intention was and it's something that's for them, it doesn't matter what my message was. It matters the interpretation. There's something different for everyone in what I have to say.
Oh, yeah. I think, everybody's so unique, Walker, that each client,
Yes.
each person you do has their own program treatment benefits. And because we're all, like you say, have our own unique imprint. And
I don't have a
souls and
testimonial
fields.
that's
So
the same.
I bet
No.
that's
Yeah,
right. So
I bet.
it's
Because everybody's different.
person is going to
Everything
be
different. Yes.
different and unique to help them on their path and open them up and to
what
get to
empowers
that.
them personally.
That's right.
If
Yeah.
it's something like, oh, they use spheres or they use this or that. And I was like, that's what I want them to say. Well, once you do the Merkaba, you do the failsafe, you do the thing with Spectra, add shapes, add colors, add rods, add cones, add whatever you want. Put
No
Rembrandt's
limits.
painting in there. I don't care. That's where the real beauty of this thing really flourishes, because what I'm presenting is the basics. What everyone that gets this, that does this course, is going to do is they're going to take it far beyond. And because I don't want to do all that work, and I couldn't bring out this unique, beautiful, prismatic experience that is unique to them, because that is their soul expression as energy, of source energy expression on this planet. And I can't wait to see what people are going to do with it, because they're going to far surpass what I'm doing. I'm just here to teach the basics.
Yeah.
Walker, I'm curious really quick. I noticed the rings on your hands. Is that some, what are those and what is that for?
So these are frequency modulators for me, especially because I know
I figured.
when I said my fingers start to lock. These help so that I can keep the space in between when I'm doing the energy
work. Okay.
Exactly. Because Spectra, depending, like I said, on the person's receptivity, it can get very intense. When my thumb starts to bounce really fast and spin, it's like a search bar. So it's like searching for new information for them. It's like this. It's like they're searching. Oh, well, this doesn't work anymore. Have you ever heard of this? It's like you go, I wonder if that would work to kill roaches. Search. Oh, it does. That kind of thing. So
wow.
Are your rings made of a certain material, like hematite or something? Is that what they're made of, or what are they made of?
Onyx.
I thought it was onyx. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I said black hematite, because I can't see it from here. Which is
I'm interested. I'm interested in experimenting with different rings to see if that does change frequency. So that's something we could probably talk about. Is I'm looking for good ring makers too, because this is these really help, like I said, modulate, as well as frequency modulation with my voice too, because when I speak from my voice, I come from the heart. So when I'm going through these, what I call meditations, because they're metadata that I'm changing or shifting around, when I do that with my voice, the neuro-linguistic programming that's occurring, the energy from this metal really helps with that modulation and helps either them hear it or tap into whatever they're supposed to be hearing.
We had a question in the chat room from Michelle Marie of the Body Owl. Everyone's dormant energy is waiting to be awakened. Does this course do that? And we covered quite a bit of that in the first 20 minutes or so, Michelle. But the answer is yes. He's teaching us to unlock those pent up energies, or energies that we may have been traumatized from in previous lives. He's unlocking that, helping you to unlock that within yourself, I think, is the answer, right?
I say that the healed inner child is actually the conduit to the divine, because that healed child is the first experience of being in unconditional love. So it's the actual conduit to the divine, so that someone can experience, express, and explore their God goddess storyline. Because that's what you all came here to really live. You didn't come here to have a limited life.
Yeah, you're healing the assemblage point. Because remember what you're saying, and it's true, we're programmed, and those traumas get imprinted in your pattern within your database and with your shell. And so what you're doing is that the people are reliving that constantly and going through the same spots in your computer and bringing up those same programs. And then that's what they're doing. And that's what
Right.
you need to break. You need to break the habit of always going back into your pattern and databases within your energetic field. And you want to stop doing that and break those patterns.
Yes.
So that's and explore new ones within, move your assemblage points to other areas within your data.
Limitless, yes.
Yeah, so you're limitless about what you have access to.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm
think
sorry,
that would be
Jules,
great.
did you have something you wanted to add, Jules, or to ask?
No.
You're okay?
Oh,
You okay?
come on.
All right, so it's 10 o'clock.
No.
It's 10 o'clock, and Walker, let's get your website up here, or the our website, and Walker's together, and then we can show you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lori.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
No,
okay, I did have it.
I meant explain. Okay, so this is Karen's. This is our community portal showing Luke's, right?
Mm-hmm. Here's Luke's. Here's Walker's website.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Spectra Quantum Soul Retrieval. You can book it right there. Spectra II 5D Supernova. You can do that right there as well. He's got a lot of really good testimonials, and he's right. Every one of them is completely different.
So different.
So unique. And wow.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So much to absorb. I've got to rewatch the show.
Yeah.
And this is the Crystal Network. Karen, Queen of Quartz, puts this together, and you can also book it from her website as well if you'd like. Talks about the quantum energy that utilizes the manipulation of the energy for self-healing and transformation. And again, this is something that you are doing. You're healing. He's facilitating this. So
that's why
right.
it's empowering. Because there's so many leaders, gurus out there. I'm not anybody's guru. I'm not here to create a codependency on anyone. I'm here to facilitate in one's own self-healing. And that is what is empowering. That is why they see amazing results, is because it's them that's doing it. It's them connecting back to their own healing power. And that is what, if I light a match under somebody, and they're on fire, as soon as I'm gone, they're done. But if I can light a pilot light, they just keep going. They can turn that oven on every single time.
Right.
Well, as you know, with me, how I undo the spell, those words that I pull apart show everybody. Initial source is in it, I all, so you are see. And on Walker's thing, there's an atom. An atom, me. We are this atom. If you look at all the words, they've been spells. Man, I pull at ions. Manipulation. Man, I work with those ions to get what I receive and require. The spell certainly shows you how to do it yourself. Yes. It is all self-empowering, and that's what my energy work that I do is. I ask before I lay my hands, are you willing to receive this? Because I'm just a conduit. I'm only doing what you require. If you say yes, and if you don't say yes, I don't waste my time putting my hands on you.
Right.
And that's what I say when are you willing to receive this? And if I can't get an answer from yes, well, I go, okay, well, you're not ready to open, to receive.
No.
Because it's everybody's individual. We're all unique. We're all these amazing, whatever we are, atoms.
And for some of us, and I will point this out because a lot of us do feel this way. Some don't resonate with this, some will. But like Michelle Marie is saying right now in chat, some of us will probably need to do some type of purification work ahead of time in preparation for this program, because she was asking if you include that within your program. So some people are concerned about, are we really receiving the messages from our divine guides, or are we getting them from, you said you went through getting all these false archangels, and so there is a real concern about that by some members of the community.
So when I set up Spectra is on the Truth channel. Okay, it's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And the truth only comes in on that channel. So Spectra, because it's multidimensional, it is all the healing aspects of oneself that are coming back to themselves. I give them homework, which is I give them different mantras, different meditations to do, clearing meditations, clearing one's space meditations. I mean, those are huge because a lot of people don't understand when they're thinking about somebody a lot that person's energy is in their space. Thoughts are things, and they can create patterns and entities and beings. And it might not even, that person might not even be aware of it, that your energy, that their energy is in your space, because that's a way that the Matrix uses to hijack. So preparation wise, I'll tell you, if you click the button, if you book, you've already made the soul consent. So, and I'm divinely indifferent to anybody's choices, because everybody has their right to make choices that they feel. This isn't about something making sense to you. This is if it resonates with you on a deep level.
Right.
Yep.
So preparatory wise, afterwards, there's a lot of healing, like stuff that I give in the email, the follow up that they can do afterwards. And so I highly encourage them to continue to listen to meditation portion of that for 7 to 9 days. Doesn't have to be straight, but I encourage it to be, because there's brain entrainment. That entrainment that occurs is this story that we're going through is their story. And the more they listen to it, the brain can't tell the difference. The subconscious can't tell the difference between an event real or imagined. Okay. Right. So if we watch it in a movie, it stores it as a movie. If we are the character in that movie, it's even more prevalent to keep that actual memory, because it doesn't understand. There's been Stanford University studies of people that have been working out, and there's ones that just imagine working out. First day, everyone worked out, got used to it. Second day, the group A went and worked out. The other group, they went over and they just thought about working out. They found the same muscles fibers fired, the same experience, the same hormones, all of those same things all took place, the serotonin. And they found that in the course of the study, the ones that were just doing, just thinking about working out, did just as well, if not better, than the ones that were working out, because the ones that were working out were going through the physical exhaustion. They were kind of wanting to be done. They were actually moving their muscles. The ones in their mind, they were like moving their muscles with their mind. Right. So the brain doesn't care. The brain, we're taught that it's like, oh, what we see is real. That's not true. Right. So what if someone has a meditation that they're the main character? Right. I'm just narrating it for them. That's a lot what Supernova is. This is their 5D storyline. And
Walker, most of us, and you even said it in the beginning, and you've said it in your description, we all have this innate ability to do this ourselves. It's part of our power. Absolutely. We all have the ability to do this ourselves. The value of having, to my point of view anyway, of having someone like you as a coach, it's the same way I used Michelle Thompson to help me early on. And that is these are guided visualization techniques that help give me the language and the tools that I may have forgotten, to give me that little nudge that I need to wake those parts up of myself, to do that work. You're not doing the work for us. You're not hypnotizing us. You're leading us to it. You're guiding us to it. And that is an invaluable service, in my opinion.
There's an emotional release too. So when we go down there to go find that inner child, I tap into that inner child, talking to that inner child, those emotions flow through me. Right. They speak to that person. So they're having an emotional experience too. And that's how we time travel. That's how we change. That's how we're so multidimensional. We can, in a very instant, emote. Most beings can't do that. When we emote, we release something into the universe. If we can release it from ourselves, we can release that fear from ourselves. Right. We can hear those parts of us during our time on this planet that we weren't allowed to have a voice finally expressed. That's a very emotional time. Right. That's emotional in my body, emotional in their body. That's not just like, oh, it's a guided meditation. It's a shift.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, exactly. That's what you're doing, Walker. Yeah, you're shifting people, right? You're shifting them to a point, right, in their program, and shifting them to that area to look at it, right, and to
and to feel it.
To feel it and to experience it again and
way.
Do something with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But they still have to do the work.
That trauma, but also in a safe manner where it's cultivated and it's put, the chaos is cultivated into a safe experience where everything is okay now and the child's here, and that none of what happened matters because it all led back to here. In fact, taking that person and saying they had to abandon it to get to a certain point in their maturity to come back and save it. That's what I had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Great stuff.
Fantastic. We'll have to have you back on sometime to talk about the other program, the new one that you and Michelle Mozzarella have put together, because that's pretty powerful too, and that's just like even beyond this, right? And so
it will have it'll have a quantum soul retrieval general. It'll have a quantum supernova 5D general. So it won't be customized individually for that person, but it will be customized to the program and what we're bringing people through. It's fantastic. Everybody that, like I said, I've had my the kind of guinea pigs that have gone through it kind of behind the scenes, and I mean, when you think of working out, like what they're doing, working out, it's like I don't know, maybe 30-40 minutes a week, maybe all together. And it's not working out. Everything is about focused intention with the exercises. It's not about how many you do. It's not about how far you can go. It's about how much energized focus can one be in their God-goddess body while slowly doing the movement, squeezing, flexing, feeling in their body. It has a creative response because the cells wake up. The cells are like, oh, you're talking to us. You're communicating with us, because the cells, all they see is whatever image we give them. They don't, if we talk bad about the image, they don't care. If you say, I really don't want that, I don't like what I'm seeing in the mirror, they're like, okay, so we're constantly creating, we're never destroying. So when we see something we don't like, we have to understand that we co-created it and we have to take ownership and responsibility. I have to take ownership and responsibility.
Yeah, that's important. Definitely. All right, folks. Well, when you want to get more information on the programs, go to his website or go through Crystal Quartz, Queen of Quartz Crystal Network, our portal, our community portal. You can link to Luke's programs. You can see how he prices out his programs, and they're extremely reasonable, in my opinion. I've been through all kinds of programs in the past, and I think they're extremely reasonably priced. But you can find that information out by going to his website. So let's take a moment here because it's now 10:12 and it's been wonderful. I wish we could go for another whole hour with you. I really do. But we do want to remind folks out there to please order your Brian Barnett tribute card decks. I think Al has gotten a few orders in, but he has a ways to go. And we really need to get those orders in so that we can, he has to prearrange the money in order to send it off to the printers to actually get the decks printed and shipped out to you. So please go on to our community portal website at Crystal Network and sign up for your cards. And also for Al's creations and his graphic artwork, there are 2 sections where you'll see Al advertised out there to do graphic artworks for you. So please check that out as well. In fact, anybody that we've had on the program, we're building in for all of their products and services so that you can book appointments there. So we appreciate all the work Karen has done to bring that portal back to life. It was already there. It's just that now we've got all this fresh resources coming in, so it's becoming more dynamic.
It's amazing.
And it's amazing the work that's been put into it. So we greatly appreciate that effort. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add before we say goodbye to everybody? No,
Thanks,
we're good?
Luke. Walker.
Thank you very much,
Walker.
Walker and Mozzarella. And we'll have the pair of you on to talk about
that would be great.
the other program. A couple weeks from now, maybe as a follow-up.
Definitely.
Okay.
We'll probably launch it in May.
That'd be great. That'd be great. All right, folks. Well, Jules is going to be doing a show for us with us Friday. She's following up to this, Luke, with y'all might want to tap in. It's a program that she is going to she has a visualization energy work to do with us.
Unlock your clock.
Unlock Your Clock is what it's called, and that'll be on Friday night, at same time as this program. And she actually will walk us through an exercise, and it'd be interesting to see how it compares to some of the work you're doing with your exercise, Luke. So you might want to watch, even if you can't join in.
Definitely.
Well, thank you, moderators. Go ahead, Jules. Go ahead, sweetie.
And of course, I will actually, because I'm the word alchemist, there will be words in there that'll actually, like, we've written hour as the little H and the capital OUR, and what we're doing is unlocking and using the nerves in the brain is what I'll be working on, guys. So
I love that.
It's like a clock, but we're going in reverse. So just get your head around going counterclockwise. So you're becoming wise because you're going to the right. Okay, so it's anyway.
Yeah,
you'll join in, guys.
Friday night. You'll get the details.
It'll be great.
It's gonna be great.
It will be, because I do it going off to sleep, and that's how I get a lot of my information of what is going on.
Right
now, it's just unlocking. Day after day, I'm getting so much information. So this will really, you'll tap into your own knowing of source, because I am calling it also with your sense source, like your sixth sense sorcery. Your sixth sense sorcery. Okay, so it's also your sense of humor.
I love that.
Beautiful.
And Michelle, I think she's left. Michelle Marie I don't think she's still there, from Body Owl. She's got a new podcast. I think it's podcast.
Oh, wow.
It's called The Mushroom Show, and she's going through, and she's had parts 1 and 2 already. And so she's got this thing going on. Y'all might want to check her out. Follow her on Facebook. We also have a link to her through our portal website, the community portal. And she's doing these, and I'm going to talk to her about uploading that, Karen, her mushroom shows.
Yeah.
Because they're really good, and they talk about all the value from the mushrooms. So great program. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Everyone who's joined. There's so many people came in during the show, and Walker, you did such a fantastic presentation. I didn't want to interrupt you for 5 seconds.
That was amazing.
But we thank
you.
everybody
Thank you,
for coming tonight, and all of our blue wrenches out there, our moderators helping us, and all the links. They posted links. Yeah, the blue wrenches, I call them.
Especially Mary Wins. Thank you,
Mary Wins.
for
Thank you for posting those. Yeah. So y'all are fantastic, all of you, and it's been great conversations going on in the chat room. I have to watch it later just to
I'm gonna
great group.
see what they're all saying. Yeah.
Thank you, Walker. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been an honor. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
Love you all.
Ladies, have a wonderful evening.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Love you all. Take care.
Bye.